Lost World Minute, the Minute by Minute podcast, reviewing the 1997 sequel Jurassic Park, 1 minute at a time. I'm Brad.
And Dave.
And today we're discussing minute 18 of The Lost World. David, how have you been, sir?
I'm doing good. I've been doing these dioramas.
Ah, yes, for a school project?
Yeah, it is. It's in my Foundations of Photography 2 class. We got it to pretty much pick whatever we wanted. And everybody else said, I want to do portraits. Well, I want to do portraits. Well, I want to do dioramas. To kind of just make these small spaces and small figures look much more life-sized.
Yep.
So I've been taking all my Jurassic Park dinosaur toys out to the woods and snapping a lot of photos of them.
Some very nice photos. Getting in the little streams and that. Some shots definitely mirroring what we see later on in this film. But we can post some of them up on the Facebook page when this minute comes out. Yeah, no, it's great just sort of seeing the contrast between a toy not being stuck in a shelf beside 100 others. I do it a fair bit with my other passion, Transformers. Even our club has a segment on a Wednesday on the group and on the website called "Take Your Bot to Work Day," where it's just getting the figure off the shelf and out in the real world, whether it's in the kitchen doing something or and there's been some real good ones with them fishing on a wharf or just stuff like that out in the real world. But this is just for a bit of fun. We've got a competition for the end of the year, but it's just people on their iPhones or whatever else snapping photos. It's not getting down to the finer points of photography. But you can definitely see the difference. Like some of your shots, yes, you can see it's a toy, but you can imagine it being the real animal there in the stream or stalking, and they're good to see.
Yeah, that was basically my intent behind it too, was to kind of get these more wildlife shots from these dinosaur toys, because anybody can go out and take a picture of a deer in the woods. Who has pictures of dinosaurs?
And they're Jurassic Park licensed dinosaurs too. Look for the trademark. Yeah, but thank you for posting them up online. It's good to see. As I said before, it's one thing to see people's collections and everything crammed on a shelf, but it is I do enjoy seeing toys out, trying to be real things.
Yeah, I'll post up some of my better ones. Kind of show off some of the best of the best.
Yep.
Mommy! Daddy, you've got to come see this! I found something!
We've got some set news from Jurassic World 2. I wish we'd get a title by now. We need a title.
Yeah, we do.
Now some of this, it's not necessarily spoilerish. You can check out most of this stuff on the internet somewhere. We've got a drone. Someone took a drone over Hawley Common in Hampshire to get an aerial view of some of the sets being built over there. As a drone flyer myself, you unless you get up close, you can't really see a lot from the air. But it gives a good scale. It gives a good scale what's going on over there.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I've never flown a drone myself, but I've seen footage from drones. And unless you got an HD camera on it, you really can't see much.
Yeah. Mine's got a it's a 1080p high def camera, but they don't zoom, so they've just got that standard frog eye lens on them, so you can get some good visuals. But yeah, if you want to get up close to something, you need to be flying pretty close to it, which is also good because of the pine trees and that we've seen around the front of Lockwood Manor. I've been put my drone to work in some pine plantations here, just getting some eerie video stuff. I want to try and put together as a bit of a little fan film thing, so keep going with that and post it up when it's done. We've got the James Cromwell interview on Larry King. Now, we don't need to go into all of it. It has been released, but there's a bit of spoilery stuff in it. You can check out the video online where he talks about his relationship to Hammond, and really one of the fathers of Jurassic Park, along with Hammond, which I've heard it being praised for building the mythology of Jurassic Park, but it's sort of run that line of just retconning, and so he can tell more stories.
And it kind of reminds me of, and we kind of discussed this before, I think, is that he kind of had discussed it as a Norman Atherton kind of personality, who was in the novels an early partner to John Hammond, who got cut off early or something like that. I can't remember for what reasons, or if any reasons were given it in the first place. But that's what kind of makes it sound like. Yeah,
and we know they've said before that they're going back to that first novel for inspiration. It can lend itself well to the movies too, because in that first movie, InGen's never named. The only reference to InGen we get's the logo on the side of the helicopter. There's no real backstory to Hammond. Even in The Lost World, really, there's no backstory to him as well. So the whole Lockwood story can exist there, because it didn't serve to be mentioned or come up in Jurassic Park, and it didn't really serve to come up in The Lost World either. So it does have a place, and I'm interested to see what they do with that and where they go with it. We got the black and white new Jurassic World logo coming out during the week as well, and I was jokingly posting that maybe that might have been Lockwood's idea to go with a world scaled park, and Hammond wanted the safari, and that might have been what split the two up. But then it makes you wonder too where Jurassic Park San Diego comes into it as well. Was that constructed or thought of before the split? How early on did the split happen?
Well, we do know that Hammond was planning on expanding the Jurassic brand. In the first Jurassic Park movie, you can see in the lunch scene, there's a projection of Jurassic Park Europe. There, you can see part of the phrase Jurassic Park Europe behind them.
There's so much good stuff in that lunchroom scene. It was only just recently I realised that there's actually a picture of the visitor centre set being built in there. It's only a split second. Someone's paused it just, I think it's behind Malcolm's head, or Gennaro's head, but just stuff like that's in that scene. And of course, as you said, yes, Jurassic Park Europe. We know in the novel a lot of Japanese investment into Jurassic Park, so you can assume there'd be a Jurassic Park Hong Kong or Singapore or Japan, or Tokyo or something like that as well. But how some of those locations would go with being on an island versus mainland, you'd think definitely Europe would have to be a mainland park.
Yeah, I imagine it probably would have been like a Mediterranean destination, where it's kind of tropics area in the south of Europe, where it stays kind of more warm more year round versus the Baltic or the Northern Sea.
Yeah, yep. I suppose too we do get some of that, a little bit of that environment on Sorna. That's a bit of everything, but yeah, and there's also the theory going around that maybe he's been trying to make his own dinosaurs since and failing, and that's why we see that ceratopsian in the official picture that's a little bit off. Or as Jack Horner calls it, a fakosaurus. So it'll be interesting to see what happens out of that. He's probably said a little bit too much there, but
I've tried to keep it safe from human interference.
The LEAP train's been running pretty thick and fast as well, with some set stuff over there. More of those containment cages. We don't need to discuss what's in them.
No, out of respect for Universal, we won't discuss this. Simply because Universal's been going around asking people, please stop sharing this. And I think it's a good idea. I mean, I like to be surprised. I just don't like unpleasant surprises, you know?
Yeah, yep. And it's good stuff like the Cooler Ranch stuff. Yes, you're seeing a pinewood structure. You're not seeing what the set actually is yet, anyway. It's good to see. Okay, they're filming in Hawaii. perfect. Whether the background plates are going to be Hawaii, or whether it's going to be one of the islands, that'll be yet to be discovered until we see the film. But even just stuff like these trucks, very, very old and roughed up, none of this stuff's brand new, which has just got that Lost World vibe all over again. And it is interesting to see on these cages, they got the locking points on them that a container would have, so there should be a lot of them. They should be made to stack on ships and that, so that's one little detail I noticed. Look on the computer, but again, if you want to go into the nitty gritty and talk about what's in them and everything else, the photos are online. Just keep your opinions to yourself, or find some people that want to talk about the spoilers and discuss it with them there.
It's our last chance at redemption. Some
fresh stuff coming out of Real News Hawaii. We've got another set area over at Hawaii. It's an old airstrip at Puana Point. Apologies for the pronunciation of this stuff. I'm sure it's spelled, or it's pronounced a lot differently, and I'm not even going to try the location name. Check out Real News Hawaii's website or their Facebook page, and you'll see the photo. It's just a aerial photo of a said airstrip. They comment it's big, it's familiar, it's Jurassic World 2. We don't see any of that, luckily, but airstrip tells me Sorna, but I don't believe there's an airstrip on Nublar. I don't really want there to be an airstrip, because that just adds more to that tiny island that doesn't need to be there. But it does explain how so many people can come and go from Jurassic World so often, because those ferries, that's not the best way to get there.
I just want to say that it does not appear to be the same airstrip from Jurassic Park 3, and that was on a different island. I want to say that was on Kauai. So yeah, this is definitely a different area than the Isla Sorna airstrip. I don't know if it's Isla Nublar or Costa Rica, but it's definitely not the one that we saw in Jurassic Park 3.
Yep. I wonder, because those that have seen the set photos for that airstrip on Sorna from Jurassic Park 3, when they take off, they would have been taking off over a city and the beach. So, yeah, but they could reuse the backing plate for it if it's going that way, or it could just be a secluded airstrip. If it's even being used for an airstrip too, they might be just using the space and the
yeah, that's true too.
Yeah, the secluded area of it, because it is on private property, so anyone going to have a look will be breaking the law to take photos. So good luck with that one. If that's it, we'll get straight into this week's minute.
Sure.
Alright, let's do it. As we enter the 17th minute of The Lost World, Ian Malcolm's telling Kelly about her upcoming gymnastics competition and how she should be getting excited for it. At 17 minutes and 4 seconds, Kelly takes a piece of paper back off Malcolm and says, "Gymnastics? I got cut from the team, Dad. Thanks for noticing." At 17 minutes and 13 seconds, Kelly says to Malcolm, "You'd like to have kids, you just don't want to be with them, do you?" Digging that knife in a little bit more. Ian turns and walks away, frustrated, and slams a chair into the table, saying, "I'm not the one that left you here and split for Paris, so don't take it out on me." At 17 minutes and 25 seconds, we get our third call for Malcolm to come downstairs from Eddie Carr over the PA system. At 17 minutes and 30 seconds, Malcolm begins to walk out of the upstairs office, and while turning to Kelly and saying, "If you want some good parental advice, don't listen to me." At 17 minutes and 42 seconds, we cut back down to the factory floor, where an employee is working on the high hide. Eddie and Malcolm come over and asks how the workman's going here, and he tells them a line from the book. Specs say it can't deform at 12,000 psi, and they're just going to check it. At 17 minutes and 50 seconds, Eddie says, "Okay, let's check. Are we clear?" and yells, "Are we clear?" And Ian asks Eddie what it is. At 17 minutes and 54 seconds, Eddie explains that it's a high hide. It goes up and you hide high, and puts researchers where the dinosaurs are. And as the minute ends, Malcolm says, "No, it puts them a very convenient biting height." And this ends the 18th minute of The Lost World. Alright, so we got the tail end of the gymnastics speech from the last minute, and as we started to discuss then, she's got a competition coming up, yet Kelly was cut from the team. Reasons unknown. It might be a number of things, nothing to do with skill. Also, we don't know what discipline of gymnastics she studies. Okay, later on we see her on the parallel bars in the kiln shed, but again, something that's left ambiguous. We don't know why she was cut. We presume because she was no good, and we are taking her word for the fact that she was cut and she didn't just quit to try and get attention from Ian. But it is Chekhov's gun. We've got the gymnastics brought in here, and we know that's going to come back later on. I kind of wish there was something defence-wise. Eddie said the trailers had that come back later as well, but alas, it's a movie and we can't fit all that in. It's interesting also, as they take turns insulting each other, the piece of paper with the babysitter's name gets passed back and forth as well as each insult's made. Possibly a little Spielberg trick there going on. And then she really turns up that you like to have kids, but you just don't want to be with them. I may be stepping out of line, but I think that would have got a smack if she was my child. God damn it, it's not my fault. As Malcolm says, she split for Paris and dumped Kelly on him. We don't know when that happened. I don't know how old she's. I suppose she's supposed to be probably 16, 17 here.
I think younger. I think more 13, 14.
Oh, okay, so she would have been 9 or 10 when Jurassic Park happened.
Yeah.
So I was thinking Mrs. Malcolm number 3, but this might be Mrs. Malcolm number 2 or 1. We just don't know have any ages on the other kids, so we don't know where Kelly come along. But it's a good chance that the breakup happened before the Jurassic Park incident. And his good parental advice: don't listen to me. Not exactly sure how that leads into what she's about to do, but
I think it was supposed to be sarcasm. He was like, "Well, you're not going to listen to me anyway, so just don't bother listening to me." And it completely goes over her head, and of course she takes it literally.
Yeah, we'll get to that in the next minute when we get to her in the trailers. But done a lot better in the book, in the novel, of how the kids get to the island. But back downstairs, high height intro, and we get the line, specs say it can deform at 12,000 psi, so we just got to test it. Direct line from the novel. I believe it's Eddie saying it to Fawn in the novel. I'm not exactly sure what's meant to deform at 12,000 psi, if it's the structure itself, because this one's winched up, it's not on struts or on legs like the one in the novel was, so...
Initially, in the script, they were actually testing it in case the winch ever breaks and it has to fall.
Oh, okay.
That they can use it as a cage to kind of protect themselves if it ever, in the event of a fall. So they were just testing out how high they can get it, how high they can kind of drop it from before the cage starts deforming.
I need to rewatch the minute now, because isn't the worker inside it when he's telling Eddie that?
I can't remember.
Oh, no. No, he's standing in front of it. But then Eddie's asking if we're clear, and he's still standing right beside it, like, yeah. I suppose they've got a guide rope underneath it as well. I didn't notice before too. Nick's there, checking it out, taking photos of it as it's going in the air. Interesting.
Well, he was the documentarian. I'm sure he'd want to document that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure they probably didn't, but it'd be kind of neat if they actually did have film in those cameras.
Oh, yeah.
I'd love to see the film. Just out of curiosity's sake, I'd love to see the pictures that they got. You know?
It'd make for such good dive, the lead scene, not the lead scenes, but behind the scenes stuff. Just
yeah, it would.
Because you'd have him filming while Spielberg's directing him. There'll be no music, no Foley work, no special effects laid over it. Like even when that high height goes up, they have it sounds like a hydraulic ram sound effect going up over it as well, and not the winch noise if it's been winched up. But yeah, it would have been fun, and just getting to see different angles of all this stuff. Like it's just good the way the last bit was shot with minute before was shot with the high view over the trailers and the M-Class Mercedes being worked on, and even then walking up beside it, and now in the next minute Kelly's about to do a walkthrough as well and go to the rear of the trailer. It's just good to see all this stuff in different angles. But yeah, we get Eddie describing what it is to Malcolm. It's a hide, you go up and you hide high, and it puts the researchers up where the trees are, which gives Malcolm his great line next minute. That's about it for the next minute. For this minute, we're about to get on the barge and head to Isla Sorna, whether it's via Panama or via Costa Rica, however they're getting there. When we get there, the boat captain's Spanish, so it'd have to be a local barge.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So.
Interesting thing is that a lot of people complain about how Eddie says here that it goes up with the trees, but when we actually see it in action later in the movie, it's higher above the trees. But if you ever actually go to the redwoods, that's how it is. You'll have a grove of like cedar trees that are like 100, 150 feet tall, and then you'll have one giant, really big sequoia redwood that's like 300 feet tall, and it's got 100 feet. It's got 100 feet on all the trees around it.
Yeah. Yep.
So that's what I always at least imagined that's what they did. They found a really, really big tree, a really big redwood tree, and strung it up on that instead of just the little smaller trees around it.
Well, then that's one interesting thing. Like here, they're obviously winching off a winch in the roof of the warehouse, but later when they get there, they're either... Well, when we get to the shot, it actually looks like Eddie's using the winch on the Mercedes to winch it up. When I've got a winch on my car and the cable's only about 30 metres, so to get it to go up over, or to get it over a branch high enough for all that. But we'll get to that when we get to that minute.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe on a rewatch, looking at it a bit slower, things might become more clearer. But yeah, so that's it for minute 18. Anything you want to add, David?
No, I'm good.
All right, we'll get out of here until minute 19. We'll catch you later.
All right.
All right, guys, let's get the hell out of here.
Contact details are on the website, thelostworldminute.com. You can email feedback to thelostworldminute@gmail.com, Facebook, The Lost World Minute, Twitter @thelostworldminute, and Instagram, The Lost World Minute.
Easy to remember.
Yeah, very easy to remember. Right. David, thank you for joining me for this record.
You're welcome.
And we'll be back. I've been Brad.
I'm Dave.
And we'll talk to you all later. Goodbye.
Talk to you later.
Bye.
It is absolutely imperative that we work with the Costa Rican Department of Biological Preserves to establish a set of rules for the preservation and isolation of that island. These creatures require our absence to survive, not our help. And if we could only step aside and trust in nature, life will find a way.
Dr. Malcolm, head Sheffield campfire stories with my uncle.
Another photo from coming in from Hawaii. Yep. It's being built on an old airfield at... Oh, I don't even know how to try and pronounce that. Puena Point. Haluia. Either way, we can apologise for butchering the name.